Sean, welcome, man.
Thanks, mate.
Welcome. Thanks for coming on, man.
Oh, no worries at all. Thank you for having me.
It's your first podcast, mate, but I know you. I've known you for a few years, and you've got a list of multiple black belts. You've got world titles, and I think I'm curious, man. How did you get involved in martial arts? What was your first introduction into the world of fighting?
My first introduction to martial arts was my uncle. So I was the first child he ever taught because everything was always adult. And so I would ask him, not necessarily pester, but ask, can I train? Can I train? No, too young. That's fine. But then, like every child, you're in the backyard, you're playing. I'm pretending to fight because I'm watching those movies, whether it be Ninja Turtles, whether it was any of the action movies, because Dad and I in the movie, we watched them a lot. So I'm like, yep, cool. So you go out and pretend, stuff like that, superhero movies that's fighting. So you're watching Batman, Superman, any of that Spider, all of that, it's there. So you're going out, you're pretending, that's all fine. And then at 10, my uncle's like, do you want to come train? Yes. Sweet. Started there and then didn't look back. The idea of competing was when I found out that we had fighters. So I would have been about 15. Found out that we had people who fight in Thai boxing. And that was, at the time, would have been Jess, Layers McBain, so Geordie's wife, Shadow, so Dwayne Shadow Shepherd, and Kelly Simpson. So they were the three that I knew of that we had fighting when I found out. I'm like, cool, that's what I want to strive to get to. And then from there, worked my way through. Got offered a job opportunity to be able to teach, okay, which was under Geordie. And then from there, was able to go, yep, sweet. And then what do I need to do in order to compete? And then it was just a list of criteria. I need to do this and this and this. And then we went from there.
Yeah. So what was the first style that you started with?
So when I started, it was the self-defense art. So it was known as Zendukai.
Mm.
I started in 2000. So it would have been when we were breaking away from it. But it was at the end. So 2000 I started, and then it moved to Bushikai, which is where we were under, and then Malcolm Anderson was the head of that.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure, I don't know the exact year, whether it was 2002 or 2004. I think it was one of those ones. And then we moved to Black Dragon Kai, and that was us. And so that's when that went. But yeah, so that's where I started. And upon like doing that, it was doing both the martial arts and Thai boxing. So I'd started the martial arts when I was 10, started doing Thai boxing when I was 11 or 12. And then, yeah, just kept going up through there.
Yeah, it's interesting because I trained under Malcolm Anderson as well.
Yep.
And the system that was back then, it was mixed. It wasn't just traditional karate. You had elements from Muay Thai. You had cross training with some Aikido wrist locks that were shown sometimes. You had jiu-jitsu techniques. It was all a bit mixed, wasn't it?
That's how it was marketed, was freestyle martial art.
Yep.
So it wasn't karate. It wasn't just, traditional blocks coming up. It was very much a 70-30, which is how I guess I remember it being put forward. 30% was traditional. You'd learn your traditional stances because you'd have them in kata. You'd have traditional blocks, but they weren't necessarily what you were applying when you'd spar. The 70% was your, I guess, modern stuff.
Yeah.
How do you cover? How do you slip? How do you move? This is how I want you to throw it. Now, can you generate power from these traditional stances? 100%. Like if you're in Zengutsurachi, which is like a deeper stance, I can kick you really strong, but I cannot fight in this position because I'm too far forward. I've got 70% on my front. So I'm leaning on it and I'm coming forward. I can't block a kick. It makes no sense. But in that position, I can generate a lot of power.
Yeah.
But you can still get to that stance per se by hitting different bits of footwork. because I can extend for a very short period of time where my stance is in order to drive. So I can still kick from there. Knowing you have a solid base, like when you're looking at Sanchin-Dachi, so where it's very, I guess, it's a very strong stance to be held in, and I can stop most movement by being solid with this stance. But again, fighting wise, I can't move. Can I become immovable? You can grip the ground pretty well, but my ability to be agile and elusive isn't there.
Yep.
But it teaches you certain aspects, like some stances are quite deep, others are light. So, and deflective, Nekawashi Dachi, for example, that cat foot stance, that moving. Most of my weight's on my rear leg, which is what you'd see in, I guess, traditional Thai, where they're, but again, that's a style of Thai. It's not how they fight, but they've got that. But I can move from there and I'm light, so I can hit you and then I can move back. And then understanding that you can pull from them and put them into a modern adaptation, that's where it becomes, I guess, that martial art point.
Yep.
I'm not telling you that, you know what, this has no use. This has no, they have usage. But when it was coming through, yeah, maybe if you go and predate, you're getting attacked by something that's not necessarily a punch or a kick.
Yep.
It might be a weapon. That now slides down your forearm. Cool.
Yeah.
I can come from here. I can block. I'd much rather wear that on the blade of my forearm rather than wear it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that to a kick. If I try and block down here for a kick, I'm breaking my forearm. But depending on what you're having to defend yourself against, they do still have relevance. Am I blocking with a weapon? Tonfa. It runs down here. I can use that to block using these traditional movements. Not necessarily the best idea. If the tonfa's here and I'm getting hit here, it doesn't do much.
That's
But
right.
now I'm out here. It starts to play a part.
Yeah.
Depending on what your scenario is will depend on where this happened. Now, back when it was that 70-30 concept, were people getting attacked by weapons? Nowhere near as much today. So you go, well, in that point, you go, okay, that's where that relevance was.
Yep. We
have a weapons curriculum in ours. So you have to learn how to defend, not just in the black belt levels, but in our martial arts curriculum from purple to brown. You start learning how to deal, not necessarily wielding to the point where you learn a whole curriculum, but you learn how to deal with a weapon and how to use one.
Yes.
In a way of self-defense wise. Because once you understand it and then how it moves, you can start going, okay, well, this is where this goes. Can I use my belt as a defense? 100%. Well, what's it like? Well, it's a bendable weapon. It's like nunchucks. So I can move this around still, like I'm hitting you with nunchucks, but I'm not carrying a weapon. But if I need to use it to defend myself, I can trap it. So it's not just learning how to use a tactical belt, but maybe you start learning how to use nunchucks as well without really going, okay, I can do this. Stick. Well, you learn how to defend against a stick, but if you're not walking around with a stick, no one should be.
Yeah.
But if I need to grab something like it's a branch or it's a fence paling, I need something to defend myself because there's multiple people.
Yeah.
Okay. Or they've attacked me and I've gone, oh, they're carrying something I need to grab. Here I can block. So we have that. But it's not necessarily just weapons. It could be, I guess, conventional and unconventional. It could be a chair. So you go, well, why am I using this? Or what do we sit on? So we understand that I could be attacked whilst using a very normal thing that everybody uses, and now I can use it to defend myself.
Yeah.
How can I create that barrier?
What's really impressive about you, man, is you've had 65 matches across multiple disciplines. And I look at you, man, not just as a Thai fighter, an MMA fighter, but you're a complete martial artist. You're skilled in boxing. You're skilled in Muay Thai. You've got incredible grappling. You've also got a good mindset for self-defense. What has changed with your whole trajectory in martial arts? Because you started initially with karate, is that correct? Or Zendo Kai karate?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what has changed about your mindset doing all these disciplines?
It's the ability to adapt. So there's no one way to win. And when you're looking at a competition point, you go, well, if I'm doing Thai boxing, for example, I win by knockout, or I win by ref stoppage, or I win by points. So I can get a clean knockout. Cool, you're unconscious. I win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I cut you, or I kick you, and you can't defend anymore. So either you don't come out of your corner and return, or the ref goes no more. I win. Or it goes the full amount of rounds. I win on points. But then you look at, say, jiu-jitsu. I win by either going the complete amount of time. So depending on your belt will depend on how long you're going for.
Yep.
Or I submit you. I'll put you to sleep. So if you refuse to tap, I either put you to sleep or break something, or you tap to go, I've had enough, that's it. And I go, yep, cool, no stress. But out there, there's no rules.
Mm.
And so when you're looking at it as a reality-based self-defense point, if someone is attacking me and they are a better striker, so taking MMA, for example, someone's a better striker, well, I'm going to clinch. Because if I'm getting pieced up, why would I keep trading?
Yep.
I need to think about self-preservation. Maybe I'm better in the clinch. So now I'm going to clinch, I'm going to hit you. Maybe I take you down. I could be a better grappler. So now I'm going to use that to my advantage. If you're a better grappler, I'm not going to grapple with you unless I have to. I'm going to keep you at range of my strikes. I'm going to tag you. Now, there is a mind game when it comes to, I guess, sports. I don't just have to break you physically. I can, but I can break you mentally as well. So you might be a better grappler, but if I know that I can hold my own whilst we're grappling and disengage, and now I'm hitting you again with striking, you start to doubt yourself. So you can see this in the way of, I guess, if you watch elite MMA fighters, some of them aren't black belts in jiu-jitsu. Like, they might have other credibilities in other grappling arts, but they're not necessarily black belts in a certain style, but they have high grappling concepts, but they're really good strikers.
Yeah.
But they know enough to get them out of danger. And so when they get out, now they're back in their realm. And now that person has to fight again in order to get them back into that position. And you're like, well, if I know that you're going to do this every time I hit you, then I have to be able to adapt my game. But now it's harder for you to get me. So I can hit and move. Oh, every time I move this way, you do this. Well, I'm going to do this instead. And then if we end up clinching, that's fine. I work this and I still hit you and I move around. I'm not just a fish. I'm not frozen. But I'm moving to a point where now I can be capable. And then now sometimes you get out grappled. Sometimes you get outclassed. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But if I can adapt and go, this isn't working for me, what's next? Without having to wait the full entire round to go back to my corner and for them to go, okay, that's not working, do this. I need to be able to think on my feet. And that's what it's like out there. Like, all of a sudden, if all I'm maybe used to is, okay, use a sport, for example, boxing, Thai boxing, MMA, nothing that involves weapons, Taekwondo, all of that where you're not getting attacked by someone who's wielding something. Your game plan goes out the window because you're used to this, you're used to some sort of, I guess, aggressive look or movement, but not this. Not someone holding it in front. And now what they're holding has the ability to mess you up. So you're not used to dealing with that anomaly. And that's where it throws people out. You need to be able to adapt to that. Well, now my motion's here. And how am I mixing it? And then
I had Victor Lyle on my podcast last year, who you fought in XFC.
Yeah.
You fought Victor before, but there was a viral video of him. He got into a street fight, an altercation where two individuals were stomping on another dude's head, and he's intervened. And then these two dudes have started to try and attack him. But it was a beautiful display of self-defense. Someone that obviously was trained and skilled like Victor. He had an incredible awareness of self-defense, because he was explaining in another video what he was trying to do is when you're fighting multiple attackers, you've got this 180-degree arc, and he was saying you've got dead zone, I think he was explaining, which is where your peripheral vision can't see what's happening behind this side. You need to keep him within this or 90-degree or 180-degree arc he was talking about. But it was just a really good display, and he's kicked one of the guys in the head. The guy's gone down, hit him, and the other guys tried to sort of antagonize a little bit, but you just got to see firsthand a trained individual like him utilize self-defense, because I think with MMA, it's great. It's going to teach you grappling. It's going to teach you how to strike. It's going to teach you how to, distance management too. But with your expertise and everything that you know in MMA and different martial arts, what's the one piece of advice that you would recommend with regards to always having that in your back corner with regards to self-defense? Because how you fight in a classroom is totally different to how you fight in the street. But what would be the one piece of advice that you would encourage a lot of people that do practice MMA?
So it's knowing it's hard because MMA, you don't stop until the ref goes stop.
Yeah.
Because there's been instances where people are knocked out and the jolt from them hitting the ground wakes them back up again. So that's why you don't stop once they're falling. You stop once the ref goes no. And because it can go to the ground, the ref will come in and then they'll wait, see if you're defending and then come through. Boxing and Thai boxing, you'll get an 8 count. So you drop them, you got to go to your neutral corner. The ref goes from here. It's knowing reasonable force. So when you're looking at out there in the street, you've got to know like how far to go. Now, Victor did a great job. I messaged him. I spoke to him about it. I said, dude, that was wild. He kept them beautifully in front, was telling him to leave. And that was the other thing too, is you forget when all you've ever done is combative movements, that your voice is so powerful. So he's telling him to go. It didn't help that the main instigator had 2 people yapping. And so I'm not sure if it was his missus, but there was a girl there and there was another gentleman, and they were talking, and then like you can see, and then so they're both kind of geeing each other up as well. But he was telling him to go the whole entire time. There was not an aggressive motion. He was moving backwards. He was talking, and he was like, just leave. You've got the option. At any point throughout that whole ordeal, they could have left.
Yep.
Why they didn't was because of their ego. So, and possibly the substances they were on, whether it be alcohol, whether it be something else, that doesn't help.
No.
It really makes it hard for you to start going, okay, this is not a good situation, I'm going to leave. They don't have that concept because they're under the influence of something. So now they're just going to puff their chest up and be big. And so they're talking, and he gave them enough chances. And that's the other thing, is sometimes violence is required. Like, I can teach you how to talk. I can teach you, like, I talk with my hands a lot. So, and that is not just because it's what I do, but it also helps in the way of, if I'm talking to you and I'm using my hands and it's here, it's sometimes deemed as like Italians talk with their hands. But if you look at it in the self-defense aspect, if my hands are moving, you hit me, I can deflect. I can move and I can go from there. I'm easier to move and do things whilst I'm actually moving. The minute you become stationary, you become quite solid. It's harder to get going because you twitch fibers. So I talk with my hands, but you can talk your way out of a situation. You may not have realized you've even been in a situation. You've stared at someone wrong. You may not even been looking at them. You've stared in their general direction, and they've thought that you're staring at them, and now they're angry. And you just go, I'm in trouble. What are you going to do? Because their first reaction, if they think that you're mean mugging them, you might have had sun in your eyes. It's glary, and everyone's done it. You've had glare, and you immediately go from having normal to scowling.
Yep.
Why is this guy looking at me this way? What's his issue? Okay, well, now I have to try and de-escalate the situation. He's upset. So there's a few ways you can go about it. And we've done scenario training before with Geordie, where we will talk about certain things. Oh, hey man, you can start going, I wasn't trying. You start again talking with your hands, creating a barrier, because that's another thing is you've got your ABCs of combat, really. And there's more, but you got A for like awareness, alertness, assertiveness, B for body language and boundaries. So I noticed your body language, you're coming over. Now I've got to go, okay, I've got to create a boundary so you can't get to me straight away, or I position myself, and then I can have this conversation. And C could be conversation, combat. So communication and combat. And now we're doing this. Now I'm talking to you going, hey, it might have been that he didn't like the way I was looking. I'm sorry, mate. I didn't mean it. I had the sun in my eyes. I was just looking in general direction. If that doesn't work, then you go, okay, and then maybe you start trying to reason with them elsewhere. Maybe he just doesn't like what you're wearing. I don't like that color. I don't like that you're wearing that. Okay. It may go against, he doesn't like the band shirt you're wearing. Like it could be anything. Man, I can take the shirt off if you want. Like it's a piece of clothes. I can cover it. I didn't actually buy it. You start going through from there. But it gets to a point where if they're angry though, and you haven't done anything, because that's the other thing. Sometimes people just want an excuse. I haven't done anything, and it's no matter what I say, and I'm talking and I'm talking, I'm really trying to reason with you, and I'm like, hey man, look, take it, and they're not taking that on board. You then need to go combat. So violence is needed to an extent. Talk your way out of it first, 100%, but you at some point may have to become physical. Now that physical is in boom, and now you're onto the ground, and now I'm going to keep going. It's reasonable force. What was needed? Okay. What in this situation was needed? Why did I need to do this? And then because it's going to help you legally too, because the minute you start assaulting someone or it's deemed as assault, you're going to have to go through the correct channels. So you've got 3 levels of self-defense. First one is you need to be able to make sure you can protect yourself. Okay, so you need to be actually you're of capable body. Second one, legal. You need to make sure that you are legally in the right. And the third one is morally. If you can't live with yourself, there is no point. Like, so you need to hit all 3. You need to be able to defend yourself, yes. If you can't legally back it up though, but you can live with yourself regardless of what you've done, but legally you're in the wrong. That's not good now, because now you're away from your family, you're away from your loved ones. If you go, I can legally get away with it, so I won't get away with it, I can legally do it. I can physically and capably defend myself, but morally I can't live with myself. That's not good either, because even though you're out of jail and you're physically fine, you're having nightmares. And so you need all 3, because then if you can't physically defend yourself, these 2, even though you're legally in the right, and you know what, you morally might be, I shouldn't have been in, like, he shouldn't have done that. I could be broken. Something could have happened. I mean, we've seen it time and time again in the fall of being hit and just struck you, you've hit the ground. That's where it can mess you up. Someone hits you with something heavy, all of a sudden that could do something. So you need to be able to cover all 3. But Victor did a great job. He moved away, gave him enough time. And then when one did try and jump forward, it was kick, and he didn't then push forward. It was kick, bang, and then and then was like to the other guy, go. Like just go. Like there is no need for this to escalate. Because that's the other thing too, is why as a fighter we're not going out there seeking fights. No. That's not what we do. We don't sit there and go, do you know what, I can fight you. We're going to fight. That's what's going to happen. I'm not saying that some people don't do it, but I'm just saying there's no common sense in that. We sign a waiver, a disclaimer going, yep, cool, I understand the person who's standing in front of me is going to try and hit me back. That's why it's fine. It's why you can be mates after. It's like, it's a combative realm where you go, I'm testing my skill against yours. I don't hate you. I have no need to. I don't even know who you are. So, like, usually the getting used to, or getting to know someone happens afterwards.
Yeah.
But like, there is no ill intent of I'm going to murder this guy. It's in your head, I'm going to win. You are like, I'm going to win, and it's going to be either here or here. You might have this grand point, but I don't have any ill will to the point where I'm like, I'm just going to maim him. It's there. We've signed something.
Mm.
When you see me out in the street, if you see any of them out in the street, some of them you don't even realize they fight, or they have any sort of combative background because of how they're holding themselves. There's no need. Like, the insecurity to try and show people that you are the toughest, like that's ridiculous to me.
Yeah. You know what's interesting too, Sean? I can't remember the boxer's name. There was a famous British boxer who he fought, and he actually ended up causing this guy brain damage. And years later, he was on a talk show, and the same fighter that he fought years ago was on there as well. But the guy was crying. He was apologetic. He's saying, I'm so sorry, about causing your brain damage. It wasn't my intentions. We were in a war. Um, and he just felt so sorry. But the guy that was brain damaged, he said, look, it's not your fault. You have heart, I respect you. And I think too, looking at that video, you and I, obviously, we've been trained in martial arts for so long. We have that compassion, we have that empathy towards other people. And I think this is what's lacking in the world, because violence is never the answer, but sometimes it's the only answer. There's a hierarchy of steps that you and I know that we can de-escalate before it gets physical. And you made some really good points too, man, about obviously, the sun beaming down in your eye, and you might be squinting, and it gives you that persona and that perception of you being, possibly aggressive or something like that, but when it wasn't the case. And I was talking to Geordie as well about this too. There are certain verbal tactics and skills that you can educate and teach your students about de-escalation. And there was an individual, I bring this up a lot, but there was an individual in America. He trains out at Eric Paulson's gym. And he was talking about a story about a fighter that hit this guy. The guy's gone down, hit his head on concrete, and he's died. Now the guy's in jail for manslaughter. And he said, the point of all this shit is you avoid the fight at all costs, but there are things that you can do or say. And one of the analogies was, if someone says to you, what the fuck's your problem? He came up with this story. Oh, my wife left me last night, and, my dad died, and I'm just going through a terrible time, and I'm just in here. And, and you can kind of play on the attacker's emotions a little bit. But do you teach your students this stuff? Do you teach them like other verbal de-escalation tactics, not just learning combat? Because I think this is really important. Do you teach your students
For
this
sure.
stuff?
So like, you've got to look at it. I teach everyone from grade 1 in school up to an adult. So you're going to have to hit certain cues.
Yep.
Now, what happens at school? Bullying. Now, when we were in school, how'd you deal with bullies? Well, obviously, you do what everyone tells you, walk away, tell somebody, everything else. There is a certain extent, though, where if nothing is being done by the hierarchy, maybe you have to start defending yourself. So I know that some schools have this thing called like the high five, where you walk away, you tell a teacher, or you tell them to stop again assertively, you tell the teacher, and then you go from there. So there's a few steps. I don't know them off by heart because that really came in after I finished primary school. But I don't have any issue with that. The issue I have is you've gone through all of these steps. You've told the appropriate people. You've gone maybe a step further and you've told the principal, or you've told your parents. The parents have talked to the principal, and nothing is still getting done. At some point, you've then got to go, well, am I going to keep getting bullied, or am I going to stop the bully? Now, I'm not saying go out and like try and start the bully, but if it becomes physical, say the bully's pushing you, I teach you self-defense for a reason. but I'm teaching you self-defense around this is appropriate for this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not teaching you how to maim someone. I'm teaching you how to stop them from attacking you, hold them, and have a conversation. Now, the hold that you have them in may be uncomfortable, but your uncomfortability is purely because you've decided to attack me and I've told you to stop multiple times. When we were younger, this is how we would have to deal with bullies. And firsthand have known that if I stepped to a bully, majority of the time they stopped. But I'm also like understanding and telling people that it's sometimes not necessarily their complete nature. Now, some bullies like bullying people. It's just what they get off on it. It's what they like to do. But there's another thing where there could be the same person, 2 completely different days. The first day, perfect. Now I've had, again, Jordy and I have had this analogy. Beautiful day. It's sunny. Okay. He's got a great girlfriend. You know what? It's fantastic. He's going to go see her afterwards. He's found out that when he woke up, he won the lotto. He is having the best day whatsoever. He's now going, do you know what? I've been with this girl for quite a bit of time. I've won the lottery. I've actually got money that I can afford to buy. I'm going to go propose. He proposes. She says yes. His day's going the best ever. Same day, or same guy, different day, or different outcome. He wakes up, it's raining. He drives a convertible, and he left his top down. So now his car's flooded, or he's left the window open. So it's same deal. He's woken up and realized that someone's hacked his account and he no longer has money. So he doesn't have money until his next paycheck, which isn't until next week. And so he's gone, do you know what? He's stressed. He goes to see his girlfriend. She breaks up with him. So there's the same guy, 2 different completely outcomes. You bump into this person in the street by accident. So and it happens. It could be crowded. We could be at a shopping center, could be busy. My shoulder hits you. Their reaction is going to be different. How they walk, how their body language screams is going to be different compared to what their day is, because it's, as humans, hard sometimes to hide our emotion. So if we're having a bad day, sometimes it just looks like we're having a bad day. We are pissed at the world. This sucks.
Yep.
But if we're having a great day, we look happy. Our body language has changed. The tone of our voice changes. The expression, we're no longer scowling. We are being animated. So it goes from there. Now, I knock into you. The person who's having a great day. No worries, man. All good. No stress. Okay. Person I've bumped into who's having a terrible day may not even say anything. He may just go, right, this is what's happening now because my day's had all of this happen. Now we're going to fight. So I tell them as well with that verbal confirmation, sometimes it's not their immediate fault. Like they're not wanting to go out of their way. It just could have been a bad day.
Yep.
So if you talk to them first and you're like, hey, look, I don't like it, stop. Maybe that might be enough for them to go, oh, righto, didn't realize, or probably shouldn't do this. This sucks. If it keeps going, your voice can be assertive. You get louder. No one likes people watching them, not if they're a predator. So in the way of, if you're wanting to do something that's, you know, you shouldn't be doing and you can get away with it if no one looks, good. No one's looking. I can do this.
Yep.
If I get everyone else's attention, all of a sudden you've got to make a decision. Am I going to continue with this or am I going to leave? So I've got 2 options now. And then from there, then if you've got attention, if it's a school, maybe a teacher comes over. What's happening? That can de-escalate straight away. Will the situation possibly carry on when the teacher's not there? Maybe. And that's where the physical thing might happen, because he might go, you got me in trouble with the teacher. Physical. Cool. Okay. Don't touch me. Again, you try and use words first. It's not push. Now it's go time. It's push. Don't put your hands on me. And you can use manners. Don't put your hands on me, please. Leave me alone. Okay, stop. I don't like it. And then they do it again. You don't have to let them touch you again. I mean, if they make it really telegraphed, you don't have to let them touch you in the first place. But if I can take you down and hold you, have a conversation, stop doing what you're doing. I don't like it. Okay, other people, it's school. Other people usually gather around. Now, there's a rule that goes around now, and it's changed, where if you're the one that's doing the bullying or the picking on, or you start and instigate the fight, and you retaliate, you get in the same amount of trouble.
Yep.
Don't agree with that. Like, morally, that's me.
Mm.
Other people, again, this could be a different, but I'm not telling you that my way is right. But I don't agree with the fact that they get in the equal amount of trouble. You may get in trouble. Did you have the ability? And that's what I mean. Are they looking at how many times did you tell this kid to stop and how many times did they not react? Okay, well, you've come up to the office this many times. Oh, maybe we should have done something. Or it's, okay, well, they were doing this and your response was reasonable. Should you have done it though? Maybe, maybe not. If you get suspended, it should not be the amount of the same amount of days. But it's to the point now where it almost is, where it's like, cool, you're both gone for 5 days. And you just go, what's that teaching the person who bullies? What's that teaching the person who instigates? Nothing. It just means that if they don't want to be at school, or they don't want to, and it happens, they don't want to be somewhere, well, now I'm going to do something so I can get sent home. And now I get 5 days away from school. I'm going to go pick on that kid. And you go, well, how is that going to work? Because if you have that idea and then you go out of school where that person may not have to be then called up to the principal's office and you're not around anybody and you just decide that you're going to pick on that person and you get hit, that's dangerous for you.
Yep.
So it starts to snowball and you just go, that's not something we should be teaching them. But then adult-wise,
Yeah.
like you see it, workplace bullying, and you just go, stop. Again, same channels. Use your words, be verbal about it, express how you're feeling. But nothing get changed though, and nothing changes. At some point, you're going to have to do something. Now, if your answer is, I'm just going to quit my job and go somewhere else, and you can do that, and you can be happy with it, go do it. Because do you need to be in a confrontation?
Yeah.
Do you need to be there? Like, that's the other thing. If I can walk down the street and notice that someone's coming and they look angry, am I going to keep walking along that side of the street or am I going to cross the road?
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to cross the road. But can you afford to not have your job right now? Or, no, we're going through a bit of a job crisis. Rent's pretty high. I need to be able to put food on the table, but otherwise I'm not eating. And I'll be homeless. Well, now I've got to do something else. Now that confrontation might be words, but if it becomes physical, now I've got to be able to defend myself.
Yep.
Maybe that person stops. But again, from my, I guess, general point of when it's happened to me, it stopped.
Mm.
When I've stepped to a bully, it stopped the bully. May not be the same for everyone's case, but I can only speak from, I guess, my point of view and how it's affected me. So you just go from there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the way I like to see it is, and especially with bullying, it still goes on. There's still a bit of a bullying epidemic, and yeah, sometimes it's just unfortunate too because this kid might be bullied throughout this whole entire year, and then it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. He's had to hit the bully. Both of them get suspended. And everyone knows it's going on. This kid's been bullying other kids and, parents have obviously had to intervene and come to the school and it's just not fair. And I think like that this is why I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is great for kids because it deals with an altercation in a more humane way. Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu can be destructive. You can break a limb, you can choke them unconscious, but you don't have to do that. You can just tackle them, hold them down, have reasoning with them, use your words, and try and de-escalate from there. And I think the Gracies implement something, they call it talk, tell, tackle or something like that. So you go through these steps, and I'm sure like with because you're a teacher, you're teaching kids obviously what to do in a bullying situation as well. Would you think that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu would be a great place to start for parents to get their kids involved in martial arts, or should they start a striking art first?
It's hard. So, it's like how things are marketed. With the way things are people don't, oh, okay, well, if they throw strikes, they get in trouble. Put them into an art that doesn't have strikes, like judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling. Like, that doesn't have strikes. That's fantastic. Now, they have no idea how to defend against those. Take you to the ground, I can pin you, and it's all well and good. But maybe the kid's swinging, and you need to be able to know how to deal with someone attacking you in a striking manner. So it's no longer, oh, I've grabbed you. It's not I'm grabbing to hold you against the wall. Okay, I'm not pushing like I'm trying to post in order before so you can duck under and take my leg. I'm now swinging at you. So if you've never had to deal with someone taking a shot at you, it comes down to what we were talking about before with like that just now I'm not sure exactly how I need to approach it. I get out of the way, that's fine, but how am I entering? So perfect world, you want something that deals with both. Like, and you can specialize them, but you want to have the ability to be all round. So if you're dealing with someone who's yelling at you, how do I communicate with that? If you're dealing with someone who's going to swing at you, how do I deal with that situation? If I'm dealing with someone who's trying to grab me and tackle me, how do I deal with this? Like, football's a really common sport, especially in Australia. Plays NRL or union, it's there.
Yeah.
So if they're tackling you, sprawling works great. I can sprawl, it's fine, okay? But I can also do other movements where I can, like Mawashi, and move through so your head goes under, okay? I can block you with my forearm so you're stopped, or shoot down so I can do like a down block and block from there if you're trying to take my leg, and you stop where you are. Then you might be set up for something else where I strike you. And then you go, okay, well, that's fine. But what if the person's hitting you? Now, it doesn't have to be a clean shot because they may not be trained here. But everyone has an understanding that I know how to form a fist. And I know that I have to swing. That comes in all of a sudden. Okay, well, it's clicked in at some point. I'm going to get clubbed with it. How do I deal with this motion?
Yep.
Is it telegraphed? Yeah. If it's telegraphed enough, maybe you shoot in. Maybe you get it. But if you freeze or you go, what's this? Everything's about second.
Yeah.
So if I don't, I guess, react when I need to have, like, I guess, levels. Can I deal with the situation? And when I see you cock back, go. Because the minute you start showing intent, I go. I'm not going to go, oh, I'll wait for you to hit me. That frustrates me when someone goes, I want to be hit me and then we'll go.
Yeah.
Stupid.
No.
Like, or the common street fight. One person pushes, other person pushes. One person pushes, other. And then one person gets enough of it, cocks it back and hits them. And then they go, did you see that? He hit me. Like, yeah, but you pushed him first.
Yeah.
Technically, you put your hands on them first.
Yeah.
Just because they swung a punch doesn't mean that the assault happened there. It happened here.
Yes.
And in fact, could have happened with you guys mouthing at each other if you really wanted to get into it. So find something that's all round. Now, without marketing or plugging, we have that. Our self-defense is that. Does it involve stuff from jiu-jitsu? 100%. Do we teach jiu-jitsu classes? Yes. Okay, and we've got multiple black belts. So it's not like it's a new, oh, we've just stumbled across jiu-jitsu. We've been training for a long, long time. Do we have people who understand how to strike efficiently? Yes, we have world champions. So we've got all of this and we combine it. And then we go, well, what else have we got that doesn't necessarily go with the sport? Well, I'm here. So like everyone talks about wrist locks. Wrist locks is one of those things that you kind of, you stumble across because you get to a point you're trying to, oh, there it is. It's here. I can use this to escort you. Or it works as someone who has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Like really useful sometimes for bouncers. Like the come along hold where they tap and they come out. But and like the shearing where you're like twisting the wrist as well, you're not just applying straight down pressure. Just things like that. But you need to understand that it's not one art.
That's right.
It's several. Now, can you pull important things from one art? Yes. But the ability to evolve is what's important. If you're studying a martial art that hasn't evolved and refuses to evolve from when it started, you're learning something that worked maybe back then. But we as a human race have evolved. the scenarios and the situations we're put in have evolved. Everything is consistently changing. If you're not open to change, well then what's going to happen? You're going to get left behind.
Mm.
So it is very much find something that is going to be able to have everything. Okay. And not a blanket like, oh yeah, cool. We teach this on one day of the week on every month. It's implemented. We have an ability to go, cool. Every grading rotation, every time we do this, we're learning a new throw. We're learning a takedown. Well, we're learning with how to deal with people on the ground, not necessarily jiu-jitsu based, but what are people going to do on the ground? So it's no longer, oh, okay, well, I have to set this way up for an armbar.
Mm.
Well, that works if someone knows that they need to protect their arm. So if I'm in mount and you're pushing up, okay, you give me your arm. But if I've somehow gotten in the mount and then you're tucked in, now I've got to grab your arm if I'm doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with what happens. Maybe they're in mount, they've headlocked me, so they're just trying to hold me down. Well, everyone who does jiu-jitsu knows, because it's usually taught within the first 1 or 2 lessons, bridge and roll.
Yep.
You've already trapped your arm. Step on the outside of the foot, elevate your hips, get onto your shoulder and move. They've done the work for you. But because they're in that mindset of I'm holding, well, then they're not thinking.
Mm.
And so you can get away with that. And so jiu-jitsu definitely has an ability to be good for self-defense. Do I think that it could be added with other things? Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think that by itself, it can be a complete self-defense martial art.
No.
Because it also then depends on who's teaching. Now, without becoming, again, too political, you have sports jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, cool. I'm going to learn how to throw. I'm going to learn how to take down. I'm going to learn how to take you back. I'm going to learn how to hand fight. Sports jiu-jitsu, I'm going to butt scoot and shoot and jump guard. And if you jump guard on the street, you're going to get slammed, because even if they have no concept of any grappling art, they know that if I've got you here, slam. You're holding on to me. I'm going to fall on top of you. They've either watched enough UFC to know exactly what it is, or MMA itself. So they've watched MMA. Maybe they grew up on wrestling, so they've watched WWE, which again, sport entertainment. People watch it, and they go, "Oh, well, I've noticed that when they do that, and someone's in that position where they hold them, I can throw them down." So they power bomb them, and you just go, it's because of what they've seen visually. So you've got to go, well, is jumping guard and butt scooting self-defense? No.
Mm.
Like my favorite thing with The Simpsons, when Bart's with, I can't remember his name, but he's this rich guy, and then Homer goes over and he's like, get in my guard, but he's on his back.
Yeah.
And he's like, get in my guard and doom. You just go, dude, that's ridiculous. Like, you're on the ground. I've got 2 options. And neither are really good, because I can walk away and it's fine. But if you have my son, I'm probably going to do something else.
Yeah.
Like, being on your back in that instance isn't right. So it's just interesting. Like that, they had it was years ago now, that skit where the guy was all tough and everything else. He put his mouth guard in and just jumped on his back, like, get in my guard. And the guy's like, what are you doing? That sort of stuff. And that's what I'm getting at is your jiu-jitsu sport, or is it more of that, this is how I'm going to enter so I can stop you from doing everything else?
Yeah. It is interesting, and I think Geordie's just done a fantastic job of making Black Dragon Kai a complete system, learning and taking elements from all different areas of fighting and making it just an amazing art, because, not only for you too, man, you've got multiple black belts. You've got, obviously, your modern martial arts black belt. You're, I think, 3rd or 4th Khan in Muay Thai. Is that correct?
Provisional 6th.
Provisional 6th. You've got a black belt in Kudo, do you?
I got a 5th degree black belt in Jissen Budo,
Yep.
which is where Kudo kind of
Yep,
to.
yep. And then what other ones have you got?
I got a black belt in Taekwondo. I've got multiple black belts in weaponry. Look, there's a few. Someone asked me a few months ago how many, and I said more than 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to sit down and go this. The thing
Yeah.
is, I'm addicted to learning. So I'm going to learn this because it's just enjoyable. And when I get it, cool, I'm here. And the belt is an attainment, it's an accomplishment. You're, yep, sweet, this is all good. But you need to retain the skill.
That's right.
So it's like anything. Look, it's impressive. Yep,
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
For some, it's like, you know what, that's amazing. You have a black belt. Yeah, but if I stopped and someone kept going, well, that person's going to have more skill.
They'll override you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like you have to keep working at your art. And so the idea of consistently learning, constantly improving is what I'm addicted to. Now, whether I'm attaining a belt, the belt itself is an accomplishment and just like I guess a visualization. Cool, I can do that. In this system, I've got this. This is fantastic. But what I'm getting from it is, can I put this into my arsenal? Now, not necessarily as I'm going to do this on somebody every time, but I know that it exists. And that's what I teach people in self-defense. I'm going to teach you things that you may or may not be morally comfortable with, which goes back to that self-defense point. If you're not morally okay with it, don't do it. That's okay. But know that it exists, know that it lives there. I want you to understand what it looks like. I'm not telling you to ever do it on someone. I'm not telling you that you have to do it on someone. If you don't ever want to put this on somebody, don't do it. But know that it's there. So if someone tries to do it to you, now you can at least understand what it looks like and defend it. Because not everyone likes to, headbutt. But headbutts exist. People spit. Like spitting's not part of our curriculum, but like you have to know that if my hands are up and you spit, it's probably going to get majority on my hands. Now it's disgusting, yes. But if my hands are down and you grab me and spit, now I've got it all over my face. What's worse? And then if it's on my hand, I might be able to wipe it back on you.
Yep.
Like I can get through that. And then, like it's just little things. Maybe any sort of, I guess, like in clinching, my only option might be my chin in your eye socket in order to turn your head and take you to the ground. So I'm here, we're struggling, my chin goes in, I just tilt your head, take you to the ground. But maybe you don't want to attack anyone's eyes. The thought of eyes makes you just go, no, I don't want to do it. Or I don't want to be that close to someone's face. That's fine. But understand that if someone's used to clinching and using their head and they're grinding in and they find that their chin's in your eye socket, this might happen. Like these things can happen. And so if you know it exists, sweet.
Yeah.
You can at least go, oh, that's there. I don't like it. I can push, not go, what's going on? And by that point, you're taken to the ground and you've got pressure in your eye socket. So,
did you ever see? There was an old fight, Australian fight. It was Elvis Sinisic versus Chris Hazeman, and Chris Hazeman submitted Elvis with a chin to the eye. Did you ever see that?
yes.
Yeah, he used to do it all the time. Apparently,
it's effective.
Yeah,
Like it's not blinding. I'm not poking. I'm not scratching. I'm not scooping. Like I'm putting pressure. Your eyes close, and if it's not, you're probably going to try and close it. But it's the pressure. I don't see how that's illegal.
Yeah.
Like maybe now if they brought it in, because again, can't eye gouge. Like the amount of eye gouges that happen. I mean, a few weeks ago, someone got a whole point deducted. There was no warning, which again can see why. But like that eye attack itself, probably don't attack eyes. But if I'm submitting you and it's not a strike with my chin, I'm pressuring it. That's a submission. So would it be allowed in sports now? I'm not sure. But back then it was. Like everything at some point was allowed that isn't now. Apart from maybe joint strikes, but we kind of see them still with the side kick or the Kensetsu you see in MMA, but like the deliberate strike to the groin, or to the joint, and eye gouges and spitting, probably not allowed. Or can't fish hooks, so stay away from the mouth. But you could strike the groin in early MMA. Valley Tudo, you can headbutt. Like there is like Pride, you could headbutt. There's a whole heap of stuff. You could stomp them in the corner.
Yeah. Yep.
As I said, the evolution of things coming up has been what's changed. So like Valley Tudo, no holds barred, no rules, right? Now, what they deem MMA over there is Valley Nada. Where you just go, oh, right, it's cool, too many rules. It's here. Oh, you're safe in this part. There is video of, it's actually interesting because I'm pretty sure it's the bad guy from Austin Powers, the guy who cracks his neck and throws a shoe.
Yep.
He fought in UFC, I'm pretty sure it's UFC 4, and he's being held, and the guy is just punching him in the groin. That was legal then.
Yep.
You could do it.
Yep.
You had to wear a groin guard, but you were allowed to punch him in the groin. Like you could do these things. There's certain styles, Kudo, for example, there was one competition where it was in Japan, where if there was a 30-kilo difference, so it would have been all, like it was like an open, I guess, like jiu-jitsu, you have like your open weight. You could go in it, but if you were 30 kilos lighter than the guy, you could kick him in the groin. You were allowed to do it. They couldn't kick you, but you could kick them because it was deemed that it was, you know what, at 30 kilos, maybe that could be something you should be able to do. So it just depends, again, on what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the UFC brought in from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock elbows. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. So now MMA fighters can strike that way, because before that was illegal, wasn't it?
In the UFC, yes.
Yeah.
Like there was a
Yeah.
lot of things that happened outside and elsewhere that was still right. Like one still had like kicks to the head on the ground up until a couple of years ago. And then they stopped it. But like, so they were still doing it where the UFC was like, no, we're not having that. You can't kick a grounded opponent and stuff like that. But yeah, they took that out for quite a period of time. And then they've just implemented it back in.
Yeah.
Which then goes, okay, well, and then you get like the John Jones fans, well, why is his one no contest or whatever? And you just go, whatever. Because that's what he got done with.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should still be what it is though, because at that point in time, it wasn't allowed. So if you're, as I said, if you're fighting in an organization or a sport that has rules, you have to abide by those rules, not by the general rule where, do you know what? All of MMA, it's you're fighting under a sanction who only allows this. So it'd be like fighting Thai boxing and going, well, our amateurs fight with pads. Well, our amateurs don't. Yeah, but ours do. And if you want to fight under this, you have to fight with pads. Well, if you want to fight on that show, you fight with pads. There's no leniency there. It's that point. You're fighting under this banner. These are our rule set. Abide by it.
Yeah.
And that's where that happens.
You won the WKBF World Middleweight Muay Thai Championships.
Yes.
Which is a fucking incredible feat, man. But what did that mean to you to be, renowned, obviously, for a middleweight champion? It must have been pretty surreal. And there was a bit of a discrepancy too, wasn't there?
There was a discrepancy.
Yeah.
It got to the point where it was given a split draw. So like there's no hiding it. It was quite public because my opponent made it public. And like we did too, we just didn't go about it the same way. So it was done as a split draw. Now that shouldn't and very rarely happens in title fights, especially world titles. When it happened to us, it also happened in like a boxing fight with two females. But technically there should be a winner. Okay. So it got sent to the board. And then, but upon that, it was very much, a waiting time. So it was a waiting period of a couple of months. It wasn't like it was a week or 2 weeks. It went for quite a bit of time where you're almost in limbo. You're like, I'm not sure. And that's where that waiting game happened, but also came with the slander. So we were talking about, I guess, bullying verbally. It wasn't necessarily a bullying point, but it was dragging, I guess, my effort / slandering what we did as a way of we were getting put down to try and put theirs on top. There was things deemed where they were showing a certain clip that showed him doing amazing, but it was a snippet. Like, that's fine. I can show you heaps of fights where if we cut and paste, the person who you want to see wins winning. Unless they get absolutely obliterated, you can piece things together. That's fine. But don't expect it to be, oh, we're just going to lay down and just that's fine. We went about it, however, in a way that it wasn't, we were not slandering. Had nothing. We just went, this is what's happening. We kept people up to date. I don't have to drag your name through the mud. That's not my thing. If you want to do it, people are going to see it, what you're doing. You may not take on board that, do you know what, they're doing that, so I'm not going. Their followers, their gym members, they're not going to see the, oh, maybe my coach shouldn't be doing that my gym shouldn't. They don't care because they're wanting their guy to win. We're seeing it as an overall perspective. I don't need to slander you. I don't care. You're a person in front of me. Like, do you affect me personally? No, I don't care. As I said before, like this was, again, I fought him twice because I fought him for the South Pacific and won. So I'd already beaten him.
Yep.
And then he was meant to have another fight, but that fell through. And then I found out I was fighting him for the Muay Thai show, the Muay Thai world champion. And I was like, yep, cool, whatever. That's fine. But it was very much what was said, what was deemed about everything else. And they were giving like his head was down. He knew he'd lost. He did all that. He didn't like another one. Oh, he was so exhausted. He didn't want to drink. Well, no. Oh, he wanted it over his head because he was overheating. Wasn't overheating. I don't drink from other people's water bottles. Period. I don't care who you are. You might have the best dental hygiene in the world. I'm not drinking from your bottle because you may not know whether or not you've got some sort of, you might have a cold lingering. I don't want to catch it. But I don't drink from other people's water bottles. So I tell them, and there's several videos, pour it on my head. I don't care. Pour it on my head. It's all good. But that was used against me because I said, pour it on my head. I wasn't exhausted and down. I just felt like I could have done better. So I had gone, okay, do I think I won? Yes. Do I think I could have won more convincingly? Yeah. And I was down on myself for that. But again, like we spoke about before, body language. Maybe that might have given them that idea of, oh, he thinks he's lost. Not at one point did I think I had lost.
Yeah.
It was more of this is going to be tight because this didn't go how I wanted it to go. But we offered for an extension round. So for those who aren't aware what an extension round is, K1 did it a lot. I think if they're coming back, they might still do it. If it's a draw, you do another round.
Yeah.
We offered 3 things. First one, we can leave it as it is. It can go to tribunal, whatever it wants to go to, they can make a decision. Second one, we do an extra round. That's fine. I'm ready to go. Third one is we let the promoter decide, or the head judge, whatever it was, they can decide. We said yes to all 3. They weren't happy with any of those 3. So it gets to a point where you go, well, I've given you options. kind of like we spoke about before with self-defense. I've given you options. I've tried, I've reasoned, it's here. But now I'm not wasting any more energy going for the next however long we got to wait, because it eventually went to the higher ups. I'm not going to wait around and go, oh, that guy. I don't care. Once we left, doesn't bother. Doesn't upset you a bit when someone's slandering you for no reason on the net? Yeah. But it's happened with, like, not with sport, but just like sometimes people just go on the net and go and type whatever they want, because the internet has given people a voice without any consequence.
Yeah, so true.
But, you know, like, it gets to a point too where you just go, am I going to let this affect me day to day when I have a beautiful family, I got great friends, and I've got to also make sure that I've got my head screwed on when I'm teaching. Like, teaching is my job. So if it's going to affect those three things for me and my livelihood and how I'm holding myself, it's got no point. I can't let that affect me, and I won't, because, well, that's your opinion of me. If that's what you think, fair enough. I'm not going to change it. Think it.
Yep.
It's not my job to change everybody's opinion. I am who I am. I think I'm approachable. That's fine. I have a chat, but then it can be times when people are like, oh, he's a bit of a dick. Okay. That's your that's your thought on me. That's okay. That is fine. Next time we have I'm not going to be like, oh, he called me a dick. I'll be friendly. I'm always friendly. I try to be friendly all the time. But I don't go away from everything going, I hope they like me.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with who I am. So I go, yeah, cool. Like, I am the 75 kilo WKBF world champion. I have the belt. It's on my Black Dragon Kai towel at home, sitting proud and displayed.
Yep.
You ask anyone, that's what it is. I got the belt from the night. It's at home. The same belt that was there on the night, it's what I've got. That's all I have to say.
Is that the biggest win of your career? Like, because you've
as in accomplishment title-wise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you've won a few titles, haven't you? You've got Queensland titles, South Pacific. What ones have you got?
Yeah. So in Thai boxing, I've got 2 Queensland titles, 2 Australian titles, a South Pacific, and a world title.
Yeah.
I've got other titles and other things as well, like Kudo, run up with Kyokushin, stuff like that. Excuse me. But that's my highest accolade when it comes to awards.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like, I've had decisions not go my way where I thought I'd won. Like, it's not that I've won every time I've done a title fight, I have won the title. And I think some people assume that. They go, oh, I have fought for titles and lost. I have held titles and lost them. Like, I've fought for 4 Queensland titles. I have 2. My second defense for my first Queensland title, I fought a guy that was like 190 something centimeters. And in the weigh-in photo, I came up to his nipples and I was like to punch up, and he dropped me and finished. Like, he finished me with 3 liver shots.
Yeah.
But there's a title I didn't win. I fought again. I was meant to fight for an Australian title, but that fight got cancelled, so they offered me to fight for another Queensland title. So I fought again. I didn't manage to get that one. It went to the judge's decision. That night, they decided that I was not the victor. Cool. There is no ill intent or will. They're judging. That's why we have 3 judges, so they can see different things from different perspectives, right? At that night, on that night, he won. Cool. My first Australian title fight, I lost. I think my second Australian title fight, I lost. So my first one was against, I'm pretty sure it was against Brad Davies for a K1 title. And I got dropped in that. My second one was against Machine Gun Joe, and he won that, went the distance, and he came on top. Like, it's not like I walk in there and go, I'm just walking away with the title. The amount of effort and work and everything else, and if I don't get it, guess what? I'm working harder. I'm improving. You need to try to consistently improve. Even if you have the belt, well, that's mine.
Mm.
You're not getting it. It's mine. Some people lose drive when they win a belt. They go, oh, well, I've got that one. Okay. I'm very competitive. So if it's my belt, it's mine. And if you want it, you're going to have to take it off me. So it's not just with fighting, it's video games, it's everything. Like, I'm very competitive. I like to win. And sometimes it's fun, like, haha, yeah, sweet. Other times it's no, it's just as serious and it's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say has probably been the toughest personal setback you've faced in your whole martial arts journey?
I had 2 knee operations. So I did my ACL twice.
How'd you do that?
One was in an MMA grading that we were doing, and another one was 9 months later, and it got taken out in a martial arts grading. So a throw we were tangled up in the clinch. He went to go do an osotogari, like a big reap, but he planted his leg and twisted me and blew my knee. So that was the first one. What, again, not ill intent. We're tired. There's adrenaline. There's a whole heap of things that play a part. This wasn't a vindictive thing. It just happened. There's my injury. Had that operated on, and then I came back a bit too early. When I say that, I was doing the rehab. Everything was all good. But the first one, what I had was a donor graft. So I need to make sure that my body took it, everything else. But 9 months, that 9 to 10 month period is your weakest part. I didn't know that. I knew it was feeling strong. I could kick bags hard. I was blocking well. Everything was working great. My strength conditioning was improving, but I didn't know that at that point is your red area, your red zone. And I was doing a martial arts grading. It was grappling heavy, and I had a knee brace on. But again, adrenaline, fatigue. They're wanting to push me because it's my grading. I get that.
Yeah.
Took my knee. So I did a takedown and my knee went sideways. Now, I didn't think I'd blown it. I was annoyed that it got taken because I had the guard on, obviously it was showing, but I was like, righto, it is what it is. It got taken out, finished my grading, and then it was like, my knee's still swollen after a couple of weeks, but didn't go see someone about it until like a month or 2 later. And then they're like, oh no, you have no ACL again. I went, great. So then I booked in, got it again. So I had a layoff of about 2.5 years because of this.
Yeah. Wow.
And so my first fight back was, I think, the beginning of 2015. So I did it at the end of 2012. And then, had the operation that December, came back, had the operation, and then I had to do my rehab and make sure it was strong and wait the 12 months before I could actually get back to. And that was also a detriment to Geordie by going, do you know what? No, you're not getting in until you can actually be physically clear. We're not going through this again. I don't want that for you. We're making sure that you're 100% right.
Yeah.
So that was it. But it didn't stop me from learning. It just stopped me from competing.
Yeah. How has martial arts shaped you as a person, Sean? But more importantly, how has it shaped you as a husband and a father?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know, I guess, anything else apart from, I guess, the disciplinary point. Now, it's not like hard regiment discipline, but I've been doing this since I was 10. I'm 35 this year. So for 25 years, I've been training.
Yeah.
So I've been training for a good stint, and that has helped shape and implement everything. Now, those first 10 years, I mean, when you're a child, you don't remember at least the first 2 or 3, like memory after memory. You remember bits, but not everything. So then you go, well, then there's that 6 to 7 years, you've got before then. But it's the determination, the strength to push through as well, but also the disciplinary going, do you know what? No, this isn't right. So if you know that you should be behaving, you can go, yeah, cool, you know what? And pull my head in. Or your kids are misbehaving. Don't do it. But you also learn to talk. It's not just this. It's I can communicate with you.
Yeah.
And then I can let you know this is why we're not doing it. Before you even having to realize about going through and going, oh, like some parents don't know what's happening. And so out of frustration or they're unaware, maybe they smack. But could that have been avoided? Now, I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't smack your kid, but could that have been avoided by you talking? Maybe. So understanding that before you start doing physical stuff, have the conversation, be verbal. Have the ability to be audible with what your instruction is, be very clear. That's the other thing, is be clear with your instruction. If I need you to do something, I can't mumble my way around or give you a vague idea and then expect you to do this magnificent movement. I need to go, when you're doing it, you need to step here, here, and here, or you need to do this movement there, so this is going to work. Oh, okay. So you have no questions about it. It's, I know theoretically what I have to do. In my actions, I know I have to do it. Now, if you don't do it with your actions, we fix it. It's all good. But it's little things like that where you go, this is how it's helped shape my disciplinary me. What do I want to do? What's my drive? Well, I know that I have to do this. Well, if I want to do this, well, I need to do these steps. If I want to do this, I need to do these steps. So it's giving me a structure, and that way I can go, do you know what? My life's living the structure. This is what it is. I can do this. I can go from here, and that's fine. And you'd be surprised how many things cross over.
Yes.
Like, if you're thinking combat-wise, all right, I know that I have to do this, this, and this, and if I want to compete. There's no if, buts, and maybes, it's this. You go, cool. But, I want to save up I want to get married, saving up. Oh, well, we need to do this, budget this. But once you have those structures and that self-discipline to go, well, I'm not going to buy that. I'm going to have self-control. I'm going to have self-discipline. I'm not going to splurge on this, even though I got the money, or I could possibly, maybe I want to do it for this, or I want to put money towards this a bit more. So then you start going, well, now I've got money for that. Oh, I need a new car. Okay, well, how are we going to go about that? So you can start piecing things together where it's there.
Yes.
Like, do I think it's a really good tool to release endorphins? 100%. I will encourage everybody to train. If you've had a bad day, train.
100%.
Maybe I don't spar. Maybe I don't go, do you know what? Just not for you, but for everyone else. Maybe I just go, you know what? We're not sparring today. We are just doing something that's going to still get your blood pumping, going to get heart rates going. You're going to feel better, but I'm not going to have you hit people because you've had a bad day and I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
And I also don't want you to get hit and get worse. That's the other thing. So I don't want you to hit someone and injure them, but I also don't want you to get hit and go, I'm never coming back. So it's me keeping both sides safe.
Yep.
But do you feel better? Yeah. Talk to anyone who goes to the gym, anyone who does exercise, even run. You go for a walk, you feel better. Why? Because of the endorphins.
100%. You never regret a bad workout.
No.
Even if you do go to the gym or whatever you're doing, a sport, you never regret, going and, just, as you said, getting the blood pumping and What's one piece of advice that you would give to someone who doesn't have any direction in life and has lost a sense of purpose? What would you say to that person?
Well, that's the thing. Like, who's the person? So if I'm having a conversation with someone who I've just met and they've just, for some reason, wanted to go, hey, look, I've been down on this. Or I don't know the person, they're an acquaintance. And I go, oh, okay, cool. And then they've decided to divulge that that's what's happening. I don't want to overstep. I go, you should do this. It's not my place. I can give you my thoughts on it, but I'm not going to go, you need to do this.
Yep.
You need to do that. My mates, I might go, yep, cool. They're having that. Excellent. We can have a sit down and go, okay, why? Why are you feeling this way? Because sometimes people just want to get it out. Some people just want to get it out, vent, and they feel a bit better. But if someone, let's go, like a good mate or a family member was to go, look, I am feeling this way, we sit down. Why? What is the root of this? Let's try to get to the root of why you're feeling this way. Once we get there, excellent. What can we do in order to actually make you feel better? If you're lacking purpose, or you feel like you're lacking purpose, or you're lacking drive, what can we do in order to get that back up? What do you enjoy doing? Now, I say, what do you enjoy doing? Because not everyone enjoys martial arts. So I'm not going to go, you just need to train. I know people who I'm very good friends with who have no interest. They like coming to spectate. They like watching it. But doing it, they're like, I just don't have an interest in doing it. And that's fine. You don't have to. But that's where we have our differences. It's a different point. I'm not going to tell you you need to train. But what do you like doing? Well, maybe I like playing volleyball. Sweet. Is there a volleyball team that is going around? Do you know of a place where you can go play volleyball and have that social interaction? Because if it's social and you like playing a certain sport to release endorphins, and you're getting both now. You're in a team, you have a team camaraderie, you have that feel, and you're like, do you know what? I'm a part of something. Sweet, let's go do that. Oh, I really like drawing. Sweet, go to an art class. Again, there is people. Will you talk? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But they've got these things happening all the time. Okay? They got paint and sips. You don't have to go and drink. You can go and paint. But there is a community of people that do that.
Yes.
So improv classes, like there is things that I'm trying to just grasp at different things that people might be interested in doing. You can go and do that. So not necessarily just sports orientated, whatever makes you feel good and will help you get a healthy endorphin like release, go and do it. And if you've got then a group of people, like a team or like a collective of people that are wanting to do the same thing, you have then a commonality. You can start talking about it. And then you don't have to go, you guys are now my friends and I'm leaving you. But you've now got a wider circle.
Yes.
Or you have this circle. And so if you don't feel comfortable talking about your art stuff, or you feel like you're overdoing it, or say you don't want to talk about your sports stuff because you're flooding people with it all the time, you have something else to talk about. And then that way they go, oh, you know who you can talk about it with, and the other things you can talk to them about.
Yeah.
And just little things like
that. Someone said once, I think it was Charles Pollock, when he said, following your passion is bullshit. You need to get good at a skill, and then your passion comes out of that. Like you can't just say, you know what, I'm going to be passionate about playing the violin, and you've never played violin before. You need to learn it. You need to learn how to do it. And then obviously you might like it, and then your passion comes out of it. But these are important things that I think, you can teach kids. But what have you learnt from becoming a parent?
Well, the thing, we'll go back to just the violin thing. You might learn it begrudgingly. So here's my other thing is sometimes kids are forced to learn
That's true.
an instrument and they're amazing at it. I've seen kids be able to play piano, guitar, pick something up and be really good at it.
But don't like it.
But do not like it. It is a forced thing. They do it because it's making their parents happy. They dread having to go and they just go, Why am I doing this? They might be exceptional. That might get them places, and that's fine. But they don't have a passion for it, but they're good at it. So even though they've attained that skill, they've gone, you know what? I've got the ability to be phenomenal at this. I don't want to put my effort into it. Passion still requires effort. It needs a drive. So if you're only going to get so far with it, if you don't have the passion to move forward.
Yeah.
We all know how to drive a car. Well, those who are old enough to drive. But my passion isn't cars. So I'm not expecting to go on the track and, you know what, be the best driver in the world. And even if I was driving from such a young age and I had all that skill set point, the person who's got passion is going to beat me because they have that want and that drive. Now, will they beat me every time? Maybe, maybe not. They might beat me first. However, eventually, I'll say that I might beat them first, but eventually they're going to get their skill to that point where, like I was talking about before, consistently improving. I'm not. My passion isn't in it. If they're consistently improving, they've got passion. They are going to outskill me. They're going to be able to outmaneuver me. I'm going to get left behind. So, do I agree with the statement? No, because I've seen people do things purely because they've been forced to do it and they're great at it, but they're like, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've seen others who have a passion for it drive and do this and want to get better, and they succeed. Like my job, for example, I'm a martial arts instructor. If you knew how to do martial arts, I wouldn't have a job. So if you walked in and you already knew how to throw a punch, a kick, and then you knew how to grapple, you knew how to clinch, you knew how to armbar and choke people out, what's my purpose? If you knew how to defend yourself and you knew how to use your words, you knew how to de-escalate a situation, there is no need for this job. You're paying me for something you already attain. But I've seen people who are not confident. They're within their own shell. So they're already, not only are they not just walking around faking it, they are withdrawn. And when they start to learn this, if this is their passion, if this is what's giving them that purpose, I've seen them actually go, you know what? I'm coming out of my shell. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm talking to people. Now I'm socializing. So again, it becomes that, it helps with that social aspect, but they're seeing themselves achieve something. They're seeing themselves get better. And when they start seeing themselves get better, maybe I can do this. Maybe this is something I want to keep trying to strive to get. And they just keep going forward. Now, so how does it help with being a parent?
So what have you learned about parenting?
Is none of them are going to be a carbon copy. Your kids are completely different to you and your partner. They're going to have similarities. Like you're going to go, oh, that's my trait. Or we do things very similar. You're going to like certain things. You're going to dislike other things. But at the end of the day, you love them for who they are. When you start seeing them strive and achieve something, you're like, yes. Doesn't matter what it is, you are proud. So like, for example, my daughter just ran cross country. Her goal was to do the best she possibly could. Wasn't going to try and stop. And if she was walking for maybe 20 seconds and running again, but pushed herself. Now, other years, she just walked. She was like, oh, don't really want to do it. This year, really tried, strived to do the best, came third. I don't need her to come first for me to be proud. I don't need for her to come any place. Podium's great. What I need is to see that you've set yourself a goal and you've now achieved it. Like, it's that point. Like I can watch my littlest one and watch how he is learning to use his motor skills. So he's not just going, oh, I need to do what mum and dad say. He's figuring something out himself. And he's clever. in the way of how his body will adapt. He gets frustrated because he can't do something, but then you watch him figure it out, and then all of a sudden you're like, I need to stop you from being able to do that though. Otherwise you're going to climb everything. Like your ability to figure out physical things and your physical, I'm going to climb here, I can do this. If I want to get on that bench, maybe I move this drawer out. Like picking that up, going in and going, I'm learning that, if I want a bath or a shower, I know how to turn that on. But that's dangerous if someone's not watching, because if you know how to turn it on, put the plug in by yourself and you're not 3 yet, and for some reason something happens, you slip, that's a danger point. So what are you bringing into the bath and shower? Just things like that where you go, okay, well, it's great you're learning it. Now we need to make sure that it's safe.
Yeah.
Like one of my other daughters, her ability to pick things up that she doesn't necessarily feel comfortable with, she helps me teach. Her biggest thing sometimes is talking to people who are new. It's the idea of, I guess, nervousness, but also I'm putting myself out there and I don't want to be rejected.
Yep.
So once she gets to know you, she'll talk your ear off, but it's that initial point. But then watching her the other day go introduce herself to not only new people and say, hey, look, I'm such and such, and Kaylee, cool, nice to meet you. And then I'm going to help teach your daughter or your son class. Do they need help with their belt? Stuff like that. And being able to, even though inside she is probably petrified, she's putting herself forward and going, oh, okay, this is what, and they're receptive. Like they're receptive of it and going, oh, that's actually really nice. Thank you. Can you help with this? And then supervising. So like watching over, not smothering, but keeping that watchful eye of going, oh, hey, look, we need to do this instead. Does it make my job a bit easier? Yeah, because now I don't have to stop, go fix and come through. But it's watching that growth.
Yeah.
Where had I asked her to do it 3 months ago, it would have been a flat out, fuck no,
Yeah.
never doing that. It's not happening. And then it would have been like pulling teeth to try and get it to happen. That's slowly implementing, okay, talk to this, but you know who this person is, talk to this person. Find out something.
There was a video I was watching on Instagram, Sean, of a father whose son, I believe, has cerebral palsy or some sort of muscular degenerative disorder, and he has to obviously wear a brace and things like that. And the father documents videos on his Instagram page, but he's helping his son learn things that are going to be, I guess, obstacles that he's going to have to overcome in life. For example, like the ability to sit up if he falls over. You know, he's teaching his son how to build core strength, and, you know, because his dad's not going to be around him forever. So he's teaching him valuable life lessons and skills for his son to learn and overcome, because setbacks are going to arise. We're going to have adversity and obstacles to overcome. And sometimes too, I think parents can also be a little bit too helicoptery with their kids. So, for example, a child might have climbed up on a slide, and then all of a sudden he looks down and thinks, "Oh shit, I'm up too high." It's a natural instinct for a parent to run over and grab the child and put him back down. But you know, there are certain things and opportunities like that where you can encourage your child to work through it, you know, to work through it themselves. Do you implement these kind of things into your parenting? Because you know, like in school curriculums, right? They don't teach you fuck all about business. They don't teach you anything about entrepreneurial skills. They don't teach you your first home loan, how to buy a house. They don't teach you anything like that. They don't teach you any life skills that are super important. But are these skills that you try and implement and teach your kids, man?
Oh, for sure. So
Yep.
like I have learned a lot more outside of school than I have in. And it could be the people that I've put myself around and that I've been able to learn from. and
Yeah.
that's fine. But like, again, comes down to communication. So what he's doing with his son is communicating with him and going, I need you to do this because this is going to help. And if the more he communicates and comes through, the more he's going to understand, and he's going to have no issue with that. And then if something does happen, which is something similar, he can start pulling back onto these things and go, oh, well, I remember when dad said this. And so if, say, he falls over, it's no longer on his back, it's on his stomach. Well, the difference is I'm facing the other direction. Do I have the ability to get on my back? Well, I do. And now once I get on my back, everything's the same. So you're going to be put into, again, variables. But if you've got a base understanding, can I branch from there? Helicopter parents, if your kid's up a slide and it's how you talk, you might be petrified inside going, what happens? But the minute you rush over, and if you've had little ones, you understand this. They're holding something they're not meant to. It's breakable, and you're like, oh, you run towards them. Their first instinct is to throw it. Not because they want to be naughty, but because, like, I'm not meant to have this. It's gone. And so it's thrown behind, it's thrown away. They don't have it anymore, so they're not held accountable in their mind. They're like, oh, I didn't have it. It's gone. It breaks. If you talk to them calmly, walk over. Inside, you might be like, oh no, this isn't good. You've gone way too high. You're not ready for this. Or they might be. Like, they get up to a slide and you're like, that slide's really big. He was only on that slide 2 weeks ago. And even that was a struggle. That's massive. But this is a learning tool for him. So he might do it and feel the most accomplished. And then all of a sudden you're like, he actually can do this.
Yeah.
So then you start realizing that, you know what? My kid isn't as breakable as I thought. They are precious, 100%, but they are durable.
That's a good point.
Can
Yeah.
you climb up that rope? Yeah, like you can climb up the rope ladder. Fantastic. It might be a bit too big, so you might get 2 runs in and then go, I can't reach that next part. But you've tried. I'm never, ever going to discredit you for trying. Good job, man. Off you hop. Let's go fight. Especially and you wait for them to ask. So I will watch and not necessarily hover, but I will watch from a safe distance, probably from about me to your way, and then watch him do what he can. And then he will quite happily go, nah, this isn't it. Excellent. Let's hop down. Let's go. Or I try to help him work his way down so that he understands that if I'm not there and he climbs up, he can climb his way back down again without going, I need someone to grab him. You go then climb another rope ladder that's got smaller runs and you scale up it. And all of a sudden you're up there. Well, now you know that it's not necessarily a skill point. It's a height. I can't reach that yet. But when I can, I'm going to be able to do that exactly the same. The slide, that's massive. Okay, well, can you slide down it? You slid down, you had the time of your life, go do it again. And it's that encouragement of, let's go up that same way, because again, I don't want you to be stuck on the big ladders that you can't get up or that was hard. Let's go up the same way. So you know, again, when we go to that playground or we go play, you know exactly what to do. Come up, slide down. There is no, I really wish I could do this, but I can't figure out how. Let them problem solve. Like, you're not being neglectful. I'm not going, okay, we're at the park, you go play, and I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go talk to my friends, and I'm not even going to worry about what you're doing. Maybe I'm just going to just walk around I'm going to look at things. No, you're still my main priority. I'm watching.
Yeah.
But I don't have to be here. I can let you try things. And I need you to know that if you're not, I guess, if you're not feeling comfortable, then you can come to me. Because there's nothing worse than you don't feel comfortable and you can't go tell someone. Because then you have to deal with it internally, and then that's where things goes wrong with other things as well. But what am I doing as a parent if my kid can't come go, hey, look, I'm having trouble. This is hard for me. What can I do? Well, we can do this, and we problem solve. And if I don't know the answer, we go find someone who does. We look it up. We go from there. But it's very much you've got to let them go to a certain point. Now, I understand certain things are bad.
Yeah.
Don't touch knives, they're sharp. That's obviously a lesson you don't want them to find out because they
No.
bleed. Stove's hot, don't touch it. Stove's hot, don't. Curiosity will get a hold of a kid a lot. What if I do it? But that negative reinforcement, oh, that actually is hot. As bad as it is, they might be blistered, okay? They're in pain for a bit. They start to go, oh, I should have listened. So it's, okay, well, now I know that sucks. So something like, yes, it's dangerous. Certain things you stop them from doing because, it's not good.
Yep.
But if you tell someone not to do it and they continuously just push that point, there's going to be maybe a point where you're not there and they do it and they get hurt. That's not your fault. You've done everything you possibly can to tell them to not do it and explain to them why it's dangerous. We are curious. We're going to want to find things out. That's where it is.
Yeah. No, definitely. 100%, man. So with everything that's happening now, so have you got any upcoming fights coming up, or what's happening this year for you?
So this first bulk of the year has been just hectic personal wise. I had an abscess in the tooth in February, so it kind of put March out. Had a procedure in March as well, so it kind of just pushed things back a bit. And now that we're needing to move house, we've got a timeline we have up until a certain point, but there's my focus. I'm still training. I'm still going through. I wanted to fight in June, but at the moment, if I can make it work, fantastic. If I can't make it work, well, then we move further down. But I'm looking at September to the end of the year. That's that timeline.
Yeah.
Realistically, what I've given myself.
Yeah.
Now,
is this Muay Thai or MMA? Or
I would love to fight Thai again
Yep.
this year. I would love to go, yep, cool, this is what's happening. If I did fight Thai, it'd be a defense for a title, for my world title. But again, that's what me and my team talk about. Do I have, within this time and this time, enough to go, yep, cool, this is what's happening? There's Kashiki World Championships coming up in Brisbane. So actually, I think it's down the coast maybe. That's happening in October. The ISCA Worlds are happening. That's in Brisbane. I think it's at the Chandler Centre. So that's happening in October as well. November's got a few things. So there's still quite a massive amount that I can compete in. I've just got to make sure that the stuff that is going to be on my mind is dealt with.
Yeah.
Because you ask anybody who does anything, if you're not 100% focused on what's happening and you're worrying about other things, it can play a part of being detrimental to what your improvement is. So I can train hard, train the house down, but if I'm worried about something else, my mind isn't fully focused on what I have to do. And then I'm worried again. And I'm like, oh, hang on, what about this?
Yeah.
And if I'm putting it off, well, then is that good for the stuff that I actually have to get done? Like if I'm putting it off and putting it off and putting it off before I realize it's there. And you just go, oh, I didn't plan for this at all. I want to be as planned, prepared as possible so then I can move forward.
Yeah.
So September probably at the earliest, unless something comes up just before then. But it all depends on when it's
up to the gods.
settle. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully the stars aligned. Yeah. Awesome, man. And whereabouts can people find you? So with regards to teaching and what you're teaching, so whereabouts can they look you up?
Okay. So I run my own club in Wynnum on a Monday and a Thursday. At the moment, I teach from grade 1 to adult, not in the same class, they're separated, but the youngest I teach is grade 1s, is our martial arts, and then from grade 3 and above, they can also do Thai boxing. Once we've moved and we've settled, I'm introducing Jiu-Jitsu as well as a style, so we'll have 3 disciplines that we're able to involve there. And we had that in Wynnum. Then on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, I teach out at Jimboomba, under Geordie.
Yep.
So same Black Dragon Kai, same thing, but it's his club.
Yep.
So I'm there and we're teaching gi and no gi wrestling. We've got Thai boxing, MMA, the martial arts curriculum as well. So it's all there.
Yeah.
But that's where you can find me in those days.
Yeah, awesome, man. And we got a grappling camp coming up in June. They're always fun, hey?
Yeah, on the 7th.
Yeah.
So they'll be near on probably like 12 to 15 black belts.
It's insane, man. When I enter that room, like I've got people in there that have world champions, multiple black belts in different systems. It's pretty incredible, man, just being under that roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's not like an egotistical thing. It's not I need to own the room. We're all just there
To learn
and train. And like,
yeah.
if you've got the ability to consistently pick up on new things, then you go, oh, okay, I can add that. Like, you can always improve. Even though I have a world championship, not at one point has Geordie gone, you don't need to learn anything else. You're good. I still have other things.
Yeah.
So like I learned the other day doing jits, a certain aspect with a butterfly guard sweep. Just a movement, how to get there a little bit easier that I actually hadn't been doing it. I've been doing jits since I was, 2009, so I think 19. And you just go, oh, okay, I've been training for that long, like over 16 odd years, and I haven't, in that discipline itself, and haven't actually gone that point. Maybe I was doing it subconsciously, but for it to be a taught thing and go, oh, okay, well now I know that when I teach this, when I do it, I'm consciously thinking of that. So now I can add that in, which then makes my chances of success greater. It's not just, oh, okay, I guess this is what I'm doing. It kind of works. I know exactly what to I can't move them. I need to do this. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. You never stop learning, Sean. Like you're always constantly evolving. That's one thing that I remember because I talk with, I had a chat with Richard Norton on my podcast. Rest in peace to him. But he said to me once, never stop being a student.
No.
Always learn, always grow, keep evolving. But yeah, man, I want to try and jump into more of your classes because they're good. I've done 1 or 2 of your classes, I think. I came down, but it's just the time schedule thing. But it's always good, man, obviously, to chat with you. And I'm excited to hear about, obviously, what's happening with your fight. Hopefully, it all pans out in September, man. But nah, man, thank you so much for jumping on. It's been awesome, dude.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome, Sean.